Hey, this is Russ McClellan with Small Towns Unscripted. We just wrapped up a couple podcasts. Valley Barber, Mr. Cruz. What a dude, man. I'm telling you, this guy is a lot more than just cutting hair. If you want a place to hang out, talk about whatever you want to talk about, come with a little bit of curiosity, because who knows what's going to happen. Hey, I'll tell you what, if you're a kid and you want to just hang out with a safe place, he's got a spot for you too. The guy's all about community, he's all about friendship, he's all about faith. So I just want to say thanks again for letting us hang out, Chris, at Valley Barber in downtown Manson. All right, hey, welcome to Small Towns Unscripted.
Yeah.
Chris Cruz.
Yes, sir.
How many this is Nicole Turner.
Yeah.
I'm Russ McClellan. Thanks for tuning in.
Yep,
we are in a barbershop, Chris.
Yes, sir. It's the shop.
Yeah, so before we dive into the past and dive into the present and all the things we do, tell me the story about this barbershop.
Yeah, well, I mean, the barbershop, as far as the town goes, right? We moved over here in June of 22, and we landed in Manson. And originally we were going to put the barbershop in the community center, the new community center.
Right.
But when we landed over here and kind of getting to know the town, learned that there's no barbershop. And I was like, what in the world? That's like peanut butter, no jelly.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I was like, no, we got to put a shop in Manson, you know?
Yeah.
So anyways, just dear friend of mine said, hey, I got a guy that you got to meet. The landlord's here, Marcus and Tree Smith. And so then the rest is history as far as like getting it in here.
You
so.
may not be able to see on the camera, but we're right. You got a beautiful view out the window right to the street.
Yeah, man. Yep.
Right in downtown Manson.
Yeah.
My old stomping grounds, which is my new stomping grounds. I just bought a house. We're moving here.
All right. Yeah.
Soon again.
Yeah. But I didn't start out here in this space of the building. I started off in the back. Almost like, you know, I mean, I can't help but think about it. Here we are in ag country, right? And seed time harvest, right? I spent time in the back, kind of in the dark, so to speak, with no windows and things like that. And, you know, a year and a half later, the landlord asked if, you know, I would be interested in coming up to the front. And, you know, time, right? So seed, time, the time spent a year and a half in the back was perfect. I mean, it was the time to meet more people, become more established, you know, for that matter, financially, right? To grow and be ready and prepared for, you know, what obviously would be more rent, you know, coming up to first chair, you know. So, that was October of 24. That I've been up here, and it's just been kind of a next level thing, you know.
Persistence too, you know, it's a lot
also, this is year one of you being in the space.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
There we
October.
go.
Congrats.
Well, thanks for letting us hang out.
Yeah.
We did Doug and Kelly Allen's podcast also. He was from here.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, you know, you're a perfect example of, I've known of you a while.
Okay.
You know, because of Angie.
Oh, yeah.
So Angie and I, you know, Angie Coleman, Coleman Sherman. She was playing basketball at Wenatchee Valley when I was playing basketball at Wenatchee Valley. And she was Chelan and I was Manson.
Yeah.
So we've been friends a long, long time. So I remember her talking about you and your beautiful wife, Maribel.
Yeah.
And how close you guys were.
Yeah.
Even years ago. I don't even know, in passing, I guess.
Yeah.
But now it's fun to be able to get to know you a little better. And it was just... This community's funny because we were at the fundraiser for the community center, been a few weeks ago now, but I love that you just said, hey, I have a place that you should do a podcast. And I don't think you meant like you would do the podcast.
No, I was like, hey man, I got a spot if you want to, you know, do it. I think it'd be a good, you know, compliment to what you're doing.
Thank you for that. Yeah. And I also said, well, I'll do it only if you'll be on the podcast.
And I was like, oh, dang it. And my wife was like, see, opening your mouth. Yeah, but I'm grateful for sure. Yeah.
Well, let's dive in what we like to do. I don't know if you've watched any episodes or not, but
I've seen a few,
the whole idea originally was just to help maybe unite a community. You know, there's a lot of people that have been here a long, long time. I'm fourth generation, I think, from here. My kids are fifth. We're raised here in the Valley. And then there's people that have been here, you know, 6 days. Right?
Yeah.
So I have a personal belief that's just my own personal belief that the word local is sometimes can be used in a way that's not positive, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't like to marginalize or polarize or stereotype or any of those things. I also get it. I mean, I get that families that have been here a very long time, you should respect those families, and they were the pioneers. And, you know, my grandmother came to Manson on a covered wagon when she was 7.
Oh my gosh.
Lived to be 101.
So cool.
Yeah. So a lot of roots. So you don't have to pay homage to them, but you can respect it. And
Right.
then I think a lot of times I've heard people say, I've only been here 50 years. I'm not a local. Like, no, actually, I think if you live here and you're a good person, and, you know, like, I'll call you local. I mean, so that's one reason. And then the other one is just like you or somebody I've known my whole life, which I've had on the podcast, where I didn't really know them, or I knew them in a specific time. Like I knew them in high school.
Yeah.
Well, are we the same people we were in high school?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
That's how I might think of them if that's the last time I saw them. Or maybe in industry, if you knew somebody that worked at a hospital and you worked at a hospital, then you only knew that side of them. You really don't necessarily know their background or their history. And I think that this podcast hopefully is a way for people to kind of sit in their couch and, or listen on the Spotify or whatever they're listening to it, and then maybe just find it interesting that we all have a story.
Yes.
We all have a past.
Yeah.
Most people make mistakes. Most people fail a few times. I mean, this is all a way to maybe be a little less judgmental and a little more understanding of each other.
Totally.
So hopefully it's resonating.
Yeah.
We're almost, I think we're 47 weeks in or something.
Oh my
One a
gosh.
week for 47 weeks.
Yeah. So cool.
And we're just lucky to got Hector behind the scenes, being the ninja that he is. And we're having fun with it. So thank you for joining.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm curious about your past and your wife's past. Where did you where did you grow up? Where your family from?
The West Side, Snohomish County is where I had been all my life. My wife is even a transplant from to Washington from El Paso, Texas.
Oh, wow.
But she moved so I grew up in Tulalip Reservation until 6th grade. My mom got a job at Boeing, so we literally came to the other side of the tracks. It was just my mom and I. And so to Mukilteo. It was an apartment, but it was a long way from our little 20-foot trailer.
So you were on the reservation
property.
in Tulalip?
Yeah. My uncle is Tulalip and from Montana, and I did his eulogy about a month ago. He's on I don't know if anybody can see it, but he's my guy right there on the wall. But so he married my mom's sister, and that's how we all kind of ended up in Tulalip. But so my mom got a job at Boeing, came to the other side of the tracks, Mukilteo, and actually met my wife in 8th grade. And then, I feel like I have such an advantage here to tell you my side of how we met. But
I see why we're so
Get the record straight.
Yeah, that's right. She doesn't even know I'm doing this. No, I'm just kidding.
That's great.
But met in 8th grade, and speaking of 8th grade, Angie was my 8th grade math teacher.
Okay.
And I joke around that I was her bad student. And then we really get a kick out of the memory of where I just would not be quiet in class. And she goes, "Chris, get over here." And I'm like, "What?" Right? Attitude. And she was like, "Oh, we got a problem? If you want a problem, I'll come down on you like a hurricane."
Oh boy.
And then I tell her that, and she was like, "No way.
I didn't say
no
that.
way." And I was like, "Yeah, you're scary." And so anyways, then my wife and I, we started dating junior year of high school. And again, speaking of Angie, she continued on in the school district to teach in our high school. And so my wife was her TA in senior year. And Angie had her one and only child, Jalen, asked my wife if she would nanny for the summer. It turned into 9 years. Nanny while she was doing college and getting started with career and things like that. And so Jalen is our godson. And so kind of what brings us, and I guess what just kind of gives us more roots, if you will, into the valley out here, where Angie and her family, her parents, you know, they've been here forever, and they had businesses and things like that. And, you know, so, yeah, well, so married in 04, and then speaking of what we call family, the Colemans, right? In 21, I'm kind of fast forwarding here, kind of like
good.
how
we call
got
it
here.
Unscripted for a
Yeah,
Yeah.
forget about it. So
it's all good.
yeah, basically fast forward to 2021, and Ray, Angie's middle sister, was talking to my wife, hey, doing this community thing, and you know, would you mind, are you available, can you help out? And then that helping out turned into a full-time offer for my wife to be the executive director, become the executive director of the community center, which was a catalyst for us having a, if you will, a reason to move out here.
Oh,
and
wow.
so that was in June of 22 when we made that move.
And
Oh,
she's still
that's
is she
cool.
still in that role?
Yes, yeah, she's still killing it.
So you can
doing
talk a lot of
awesome.
smack right now. It's fine.
No way. If anything, I'd just be bragging
I
and,
love
you
it.
know, emphasizing
You're-
how grateful I am for her.
I'm excited. Hopefully we have her on a podcast too, like you said.
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny. Jalen was in my son's grade.
Yeah.
So Angie and I coached him a lot
I
growing
love
up in basketball.
I love it. I love
football
it.
and stuff.
Yeah. He would probably get so embarrassed for me sharing this, but there was a time when Lil J
He was little.
was Lil,
Yep.
right? And he would be like so upset and frustrated. He's like, because his parents are tall.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to be small forever. And we'd be like, no way,
Yeah,
man.
6'5", 6'1".
Hang in there. Yeah. And now
Yeah.
I'm like, boy, you know, as I'm looking up at him for pictures, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm like, he's all buff. I'm like, man, put some clothes on, put a shirt on,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like he's just
Chiseled,
you know, yeah, but he's just a big guy now, right?
Yeah.
Like all grown. And
I haven't
things
seen
like
Jalen in a long time.
that. Yeah,
They grew up on me. I don't know how that happened, but
that's how it happens, man.
Yeah.
Water and sunshine.
yeah, you know, my son is in excavation now, Mason.
Love
and
it.
he actually works with Todd Corrigan.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Todd works with us on a project that
Yeah.
he's doing on the excavation side, and
Yeah.
Mason kind of works with him. And
Yeah.
so it's funny how this town just has a way of
Just
you know,
intertwining.
that
and-
family, you call it.
Yeah,
or whatever.
family. I love it. Yep.
cute
Yep.
name.
The Colemans, the Corrigans, now the Evans,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and, you know, the Ailings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Casey and them. And so just so grateful. And who would have thought, really? You know what I mean? I thought it was just, you know, my 8th grade math teacher that I just had to put up with and
Right.
like keep it moving, you know?
That's
so,
funny.
Yeah.
So when you got to go back, when you got out of high school, you and your wife are hanging out together.
Just stayed in that area. Yeah.
Did you would just go to, what were you doing out of high school?
Out of high school, well, you know, I think like a lot of teenagers, they're like, okay, high school's a wrap. Now it's time to go and, you know, experience the world. So I moved up to Bellingham for a year with some friends. They were doing the school thing. I was just doing the loitering thing, right? And like, you know, yeah, let's get a place together and, you know, wild out, things like that. So did that for a year, was working at a Seahome Classic Car Wash in Bellingham. I don't know if anybody listening or if y'all know about that spot. It's pretty old school, but it was a fun time, you know, just being a young person and having some independence, although living with roommates, but it was fun. And eventually I just couldn't keep up with the Joneses, if you will, anymore. So I had to come back home and ask my mom, you know, hey, can I come back here? She's like, I'm sorry, what? Right? And I'm like, can I? And she was like, yeah, tougher than you think, huh? So came back, but I wanted to be independent, you know, and I just, at the age of 19, kind of just had that light bulb moment, I guess, about like, not gonna be able to afford it with these, you know, minimum wage jobs and things like that. So I just kind of changed up everything about my presentation and delivery, if you will. And, started working at a hotel in Mukilteo as a night auditor. I'm shocked that they gave me the job.
Angie's math class.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Totally. I'll give her props for that for sure.
There you go.
But, that was kind of the beginning of trying to just level up, if you will, in my experience of work and hopefully, leading into a career. We just, so I was doing that. My wife was, or then girlfriend was, living with her parents in Mukilteo. And pretty much just stayed in that area as I was kind of pursuing, trying to, land a career and climb the ladder. And my wife was doing school and nannying, and, we were it's just the next level of young adulting and, trying to get some type of a foundation. And '02, I was 21, she was 22. We got engaged, and then 2 years later got married and moved to Silver Lake. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but South Everett. So it's still not too far, just other side of the freeway. Maybe not far enough because her parents would come over without calling, and I had to be like, "Hey, yo,
that's old school.
You gotta."
That's old school.
But if my mother-in-law had food, then it was all good, right? Yeah. So, anyways, and then 2 years later, it was kind of like in twos. So got engaged in '02, got married in '04, had our first child in '06, our second child in '08.
Wow.
Yeah.
2 years, a lucky number. That's
Although the last two was a tough one, because in 2010, right, I was eventually laid off from work, and I was in aerospace, and that was rough. And we had, a home that we had to, let go. And I just felt like it was such a, how do you say,
humbling.
Yeah, humbling.
Yeah.
I felt really like a disappointment. I'm married. I'm, kids and stuff. And then again, known my wife since 8th grade. And let's just say that when I first met her parents, right, I was a different dude. And so then that was like, oh man, right? Here I am trying to let them know that I'm not that guy. And then I'm, moving back in with them and this stuff. So it was really tough, definitely humbling.
Well, 2008 was, it shuffled the deck. I mean, I got knocked down in 2008, 9, started over basically again.
Yeah.
And
most of America did.
Yeah, it was a wild one. I mean, 1928 and 2008. For people that are younger, they don't know about 2008. You can study it.
Totally.
It was a wild time.
Yeah.
Try to imagine no banks.
That's right.
It was crazy.
Right. Yeah. Well, and if I could just kind of mention this, so 2010, lose my job, lose our homes, move in with my in-laws. And I remember one of my brother-in-laws, it just was the greatest question. And he was like, because I'm having a hard time finding work, right? Aerospace and stuff like that. And he was like, well, maybe it's time to pivot, right? Like you mentioned, like he was saying, what do you want to do? And I was like, man, I don't know. I just want to help people. That's like the first thing that came out of my mouth. And then I'm looking into, first responding and things like that. And then I see the physical requirements for getting into academy. I'm like, nah. How many push-ups? No, that's not me, right? That type of thing. Just kind of joking, but it seemed like it was too heavy. I had some friends in law enforcement. I'm like, hey man, what do you think? Like becoming a police officer? They're like, oh, Chris, love your heart, man, but not you. And then I was like, oh man. And he was like, well, you're just, what would it be like if you came home and your kids and your wife asked you how your day was and you had a hard time sharing that with them? Because law enforcement, you see some really hard things, right? So anyways, I mentioned that just because, and I don't mean to jump around, but it's unscripted.
Totally.
So,
yeah, it's all good.
But that was, 15 years ago when I had that, response of, I just want to help people. And it's a trip and we'll unpack it but everything from that moment on has led up to where I believe this barbershop, you know, we talk about community in small town, that type of thing. To me, this is about, you know, really close to about the ultimate when it comes to helping people. Because really the barbershop, cutting hair is a bonus. You know what I mean? Really. Oh yeah, and we'll get a haircut, right? But you know, the heart for the barbershop and you know, is a place for gathering and, you know, listening, encouraging, you know, that type of thing.
I would imagine becoming a very good, astute listener is important. And then being able to drop nuggets of non-judgmental wisdom,
right,
without being, you know, manipulative or without being like aggressive. Yeah. Or, you know, assertive, even at least a little bit would be maybe not good. But you have to drop, you still want to help.
Right.
You want to give advice without sounding like, you know. Totally. I don't want to tell you what to do, but here's this.
Well, think about it, right? I mean, you know, in listening, sometimes you gotta, or a lot of times, you know, what you're listening to is a response, right? But a response to what? You gotta ask a question, right? And the value for a question is in the word question, that it begins with the word quest. And so if you ask the right question, right, the person sitting in your chair, they kind of, if you will, embark on this quest, right? To where if something comes up that maybe, you know, a light bulb goes off or another question, right? Then there's an opportunity that I can add to maybe that spark, right? Not to necessarily always give them the answer, because people embrace more of what they discover on their own than when you just give them the answer.
Yeah, you're not trying to dominate the conversation.
That's it.
The quest, helping them help themselves.
Yeah.
Through tough times. You know, if you think about barbershops in general, like old school for men specifically, I think beauty salons, for lack of a better word, were also that for women too.
Yeah.
Traditionally,
totally.
You know, and a lot of guys, when you go back in our country's history, whether it's in the 20s and 30s and 40s with World War I and World War II, or Vietnam or Korea, you know, my dad was drafted into Korea out of Manson. Wow. But the barbershop would be like a counseling place for each other,
right? And
the barber was kind of the maestro of that orchestra,
right?
It was either that or Jack Daniels, and that counselor wasn't very good. Those are the two
counselors.
He was
a yes man, right? He was like, "Oh yeah, do it. You're fine.
Yeah. Just drink more of me, and everything will be fine today."
Yeah.
Well, but not a lot of men. My point was, not a lot of men still don't go. You know, a lot of them should. We all should probably.
Right.
But counseling for a long time, wasn't really part of the program.
Right.
Under any circumstance.
Yeah. Well, and especially, you know, in this day and age, if you will, right? Culture, popular culture, just kind of habits of people is everything is very transactional. And in every transaction, right, what people are really looking for is a quick transaction, right? I mean, you know, why would it be easier to do a mobile order, right? Because I don't have to wait in line and talk to anybody. I just pull up and then, that's me, right? And so, if you will, maybe that's what barbershops are competing with, right? I mean, people come in and, you know, they kind of want a quick and dirty cut, like 10 minutes. And I'm like, man, I mean, I could do a 10-minute cut. Just don't tell them that I did it. You know what I'm saying? Tell them it was, I don't know, somebody else, but not me. So,
no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And it seems like you're just you seem your persona is a natural fit for that. Like you have a soft way
very
about
true.
You.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you just, I kind of have an edge. I would be a good barber. I'd be like, what'd you do that for? No.
But you know what? I'm so sad that he's gone now, but I had another barber in here that we complimented each other that way. We would joke around and say,
a little banter.
You know, we were Oscar and Felix, right? Like the odd couple. And it was so funny because he was like, I want to be Felix. And I'm like, I mean, we could try, bro, but then where he would be like, right? And so that would be good for the shop, though, you know? I mean,
good debate.
Yeah, or just the complementary, you know what I'm saying? I mean, not to, you know, go off on something, but when you think about, for instance, a vehicle, right? You can have a brand new vehicle. You can have a vehicle with all the potential in the engine, a full tank of gas. You can have an experienced driver behind the wheel, right? But none of that is going to be activated without a battery. But what's so crazy about a battery and such a great picture of complementary is that a battery doesn't even become activated without being connected to both positive and negative, right? And
great analogy.
How it works, right? I think that's a cool picture. If you're here in the shop enough, you will hear that, you know, little picture, because I don't know, it's just so true. You know?
Yeah, and this building has become quite the variety of businesses.
It has.
We bring in a diversified group of people in and
totally.
out. You know,
yeah.
Locals and tourists, you know, alike, probably just.
Yeah. Well, kind of a little something for everybody. It's sad to have seen some businesses come and go, you know, but grateful that, you know, the landlords who, maybe those are some next podcast folks, Marcus and Tree Smith.
Yeah, we've been out to the place.
Yeah, but, you know, grateful for them that they would give our community this opportunity, right? So, and going back to just really quick about barbershop. So I mentioned we were going to put the barbershop in the community center, and I had to give a pitch for the just kind of, you know, status quo, like, you know, why do you want to be in the community center? And I started off with, well, you know, I believe that barbershops are the original community center. You know,
nice
Yeah,
pitch.
makes sense.
a place of gathering,
logic.
right?
Yeah.
And a place of networking, resource, right? Kind of in short, you know, who's hiring, who's firing, and who's hating, who's dating, right?
Who's
that
hating,
type
who's
of thing.
You can start your own positive rumor.
Yeah,
Drop a seed.
that's it.
I learned that trick a long time ago.
Yeah.
I know, but you lost that trick after you went bald.
Yeah. Had a beard,
Beards,
though.
man, we do beards.
Yeah, see?
I don't know if you saw the poster that I have, but it's I made that poster, you know, intentionally with a variety of people and styles. Even my buddies that got that low maintenance.
Yeah.
And
Like aerospace.
yeah,
It's aerodynamic.
exactly. But you know, my buddies got to come in and get the beard lined up and all that kind of
You can tell
stuff,
I've been
so.
trimming my own beard.
Yeah. No, well, it's all good, man. It's all good.
No,
You're
'cause
making money is what you're doing.
Well, like, it's hard to get in. You know, it's like you said,
It's true.
You're busy. Everybody's busy. So
Yeah.
you just got to keep setting those appointments. I
Right.
plan about every 7 minutes is my problem.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we say walk-ins welcome.
There
you
we
know?
go. And now I can just walk in, have a cup of coffee, and
That's it,
hang
man.
out.
That's it. Well, and who knows about the timing, right? You might come in where, you know, in conversation I'm having with somebody else, I'm stumped, but you know, you get to come in and kind of relieve me, you know?
Now we're a podcast studio to boot, so we're good.
Yeah,
We got all
there it is,
kinds of
there it is.
variables.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned about the barbershop again, where you can offer some wisdom, right? And, you know, the definition of wisdom is knowledge applied in life experience, right? So I only have wisdom for what I've experienced in life. You know what I'm saying? So when this place is packed, if you will, you know, like, I don't want to be the only person talking. As a matter of fact, it helps me cut faster if I'm not talking, right? Because you see, I talk with my hands.
Get more clients.
Right? Yeah, if I'm talking, I ain't cutting, right? I'm over here like, you know, right? So, forget about it.
I always tell my agents in our office, we do a lot of teachings and trainings and mindset work, and I say, you know, I have a lot of wisdom through scar tissue, because that is the most advanced form of learning, is that humbles you to such a level where the foundation gets rocked a little bit. But even in the little failures, those quests that you spoke of become incredibly useful, because that's when A, you learn, but B, I think the process of failing, which is, we just talked about it at the last podcast with Doug and Kelly. It's kind of a lost art, unfortunately, from my perspective, which I'm always guarded, and I always kind of preface this kind of concept with, I sound like my dad walking up both ways to school, 3 feet of snow, uphill both ways. So, but then so it's my perception based on my childhood, my programming, and, you know, and then now I have grandkids that are 3 and 6, and the 3-year-old can, you know, probably, you know, run every iPad there is or something. And 6-year-olds taking physics classes on YouTube, but it's just different, right? It's tech driven. It's wildly driven differently, but that ability to forge ahead in the unknown when there's such a strong need for certainty in the world. What I try to train on is the process is where the capacity is increased for your self-confidence and your self-esteem, and really only, at least in my experience, I didn't really learn much when I win. I always say you win or you learn.
That's right.
But it's very difficult to do both.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes too easy or things are too smooth, there's just not that integration of wisdom.
Right.
So in sales, for example, one of the challenges that I have is trying to get some, mainly the younger people, not to pick on them, because it's not just, I think it's kind of going everywhere now, but especially since post-COVID, there's kind of this mindset that, well, not really into calling you, not really into like asking the question. I'm not really into talking to you about, or even telling you that I'm in real estate. I don't even want to tell you you're my friends or my family. I don't even want to tell you I'm in real estate.
Right.
That's risky.
Right.
And so it's this weird disconnect between a time with no internet where I grew up, no cell phones at all, to a time now where they have iPads in the crib. You know, so it's a very different programming. Yeah. And trying to integrate 6 or 7 generations in business, whether it's a barbershop or a real estate company or buying and selling houses or, you know, investing. It's trying to learn how to continually speak a language when there's no language being spoken, other than texting, Snapchatting, emailing, you know, tweeting, whatever, Xing, whatever the heck it is. The ones I don't know about that are probably out there. Totally. So what do you think about that? What do you think about that helicopter parent? What do you think about that bulldoze parenting, where this protectionism, where there's so much fear, it seems. You had a great point about that with respect to it's everywhere. It's probably not been something like it's always been there, but now you see it.
Yeah, well, I mean, statistically, we live in like the safest time, but because of social media and the news and how relative, we can just have all of the bad things in the world so easily seen on our phones. Right. It's not necessarily that it happens more often. It's just that we're now aware of it. And once you see it, like you said, you can't unsee it. Right. And so then that now just puts that little seed of fear. Like now the potential's out there. Because if you didn't know about it before, you wouldn't think about it. But now you know that it could happen. Right. Then you're like, well, there's a 1% chance. Yeah. Let's hide from it. Right. Yeah. You know?
Well, and I really like that you acknowledged where, you know, in other words, and how it's said that we live in the safest time, right? In other words, is that true? That gets you thinking, right? Or at least stop and think about it for a second, right? Like, is that true? Is it just because they say statistically, right? And statistics are funny, right? I mean, we won't have to get into that, but
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but I mean, like for instance, you know, I remember being encouraged, or at least being told, and the conversation was around technology, where the biggest pitch for technology was convenience, but more so how it was going to save you time. Yeah. I don't know about y'all, but with all the technology I got, I don't feel like I necessarily have more time, right? And I mean, everybody's got 24 hours, but the only difference is how you manage it, right? It's not necessarily that, you know, technology is going to give me 27 hours, you know? So,
especially if it runs you and you don't run it.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
And if it saves you time and efficiency on one part, what are we going to do? We're just going to fill it up with
there you go.
3 other things now.
I mean, I was telling you before coming to do this, we're on the west side, the wet side, right? And it's a trip to watch people in traffic. I guess we ask ourselves that all the time. Like, how did we say this was okay?
I know.
Like being stuck in traffic, or having to give yourself so much time to account for traffic, possibly. But you see people just fighting to fill those gaps. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody would leave space for a buffer of, if somebody slams on the brakes, or, I'm almost missed my exit, right? That type
or
of
the
thing.
merging lane. Oh goodness.
Forget about
By
it.
Linwood?
That's what
Absolutely
I'm talking
not. No.
about. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. So, but, another thing that you talked about in where with changing, right? And things changing. I was also encouraged that the more that things change, the more we have to rely on things that don't change, right? And so, again, this is unscripted, so I feel like it's okay to bounce all over the place.
Of course, yeah.
But,
It's cool just hang
your
out.
podcast, right? Small Town Unscripted, like the heart of it, coming back to really the things that don't change or shouldn't change, right? When we talk about community, and these types of things, and where, even if you just unpack that word, I was just talking with the fellas over here about the word community, made up of two words, right? Common, unity. So the question is, right? What hasn't changed though, that we could unite around, right? You talked about story, right? Well, how about, let's start with that, right? Can we all agree that there's value in everybody's story? Even if it's different, right? Even if it's, I'll even say it like this, like, even if it's the, what generations are they into right now? Gen Alpha
Z?
or something?
As
Gen Z is
That's
past
old,
now.
they're past?
I think it's Gen Alpha or something.
Gen Alpha.
But just the point, right?
Gen
From
Alpha. That
baby
sounds cool.
boomers to Gen Xers to millennials to Gen Z to Alpha, right? All have a value, particularly like you mentioned, in what they've experienced. And like we were saying, like wisdom, having applied something in their life experience, that out of that, they have feedback, if you will, that they can share with somebody else.
Well, it's funny, like I translated it into business. I don't know
Yeah.
where my phone's at, but I sent out a group text to everybody this morning. I have this philosophy, old school is new school. So just a specific example is like, because we're so fast, we're moving so fast that like emails are open. Maybe I think last stat I saw was like 12% open rate, and that's if they know it's coming.
Yeah.
Text was a little more, Facebook message was a little more, but
Yeah.
you handwrite a note right now and mail that to somebody, that's going to have a bigger impact. You think about not that long ago, maybe it has been a long time ago now. Everything is yesterday in my brain. It's 20 years ago that we got the email. Before that, everybody's mailing direct mail, right? Direct mail. So the mailbox is full of your bills, full of all your everything, because that's the mailbox is where you got everything. There wasn't no email, right?
Yeah.
So then when email came in, it was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Or fax machines came in, oh my God, I can fax you something. And then email was like, oh, wow, that's amazing. And now we get so many emails.
Oh my
So
gosh.
many junk emails,
Yeah.
so many scams, so many this.
Yeah.
How much? And then we go, all our online banking goes online too. So we don't get anything hardly in the mail.
Right.
So now when you're marketing,
Yeah.
so I was translating the message, and this morning was creative. Always trying to be an early adopter of creative marketing to kind of give people what they want.
Yeah.
Or what will resonate with them, instead of just being blocked by spam filters or whatever. So I said, if you
Capture them.
yeah, if you handwrite a letter and tell somebody you're in real estate and you'd like to help them if they need help, and you sign that and it's a handwritten note, the odds are that they're going to get that envelope and go, what is that? That's real handwriting. Like, it's not ink, it's not stamped, it's not mass produced.
Right.
So I was like, there's an example. And then I was watching Gary Vee. I don't know if you watch him. He's an entrepreneur
All right.
and does a lot of leadership stuff and marketing. And he was like, hey, I think experiences are where it's at. I think that people are starting to realize that this is not healthy, that this rat race is too much, and there's that pendulum that tends to always be moving past where it probably should stay.
Right.
Just life.
Yeah.
And generational as well.
Yeah.
And so he's like, hey, I think anything you can do that has an authenticity around it, anything that you can do that has an experience around it, and that goes for people's desire. So, hiking again or getting outdoors more often, things that people are starting to go, enough of that. And that kind of goes along with working from home too, to some degree. People can work anywhere and there's some flexibility. So I said, hey, how are we going to market to our people? Be authentic, thank our people. So we have some pretty wild stuff and I've always been a big seminar. Like I like talking about real estate and I like sharing our hometown. So when we go in the off season, we'll go do seminars, and the seminars are really not about selling real estate. That's the thing. It's just about education and history.
Yeah.
And then kind of where were we? What is the history of the Lake Chelan Valley? Where did it start? And then I have all these slides, and then it's like, okay, where are we?
Yeah.
Based on what we know from the past, here's where we know we're at now. And based on where we know we're at now, where are we maybe going? And then it's usually fully catered, and we feed people, and we just kind of meet them and talk to them about wherever they're from.
Yeah.
And then, so the marketing is more about driving people to this historical seminar.
Love it.
And growing up here and being fourth generation, I have a lot of stories from my grandparents and my parents and some of the cool old photos that are available now that are so cool that people are sharing, from black and whites and all this stuff. So then that's an idea of bringing people together in a community.
Yeah.
So one of the things we're doing, which I don't think we've even announced yet, but we're gearing up to have our 1 year anniversary of this podcast every week for 52 weeks. We're going to try to do a client appreciation or guest appreciation event, and then try to get everybody together to then let them share their stories.
Oh my gosh.
Something like that.
That's going to be so cool.
And just thank them,
Yeah.
Nothing big, but just, I don't know.
Yep.
I love it.
Give them some food.
In person,
Yeah.
the most is going to be what I think comes back.
Yeah, that's the whole
Right.
point. Like, I'm just really constantly thinking, like, how do we get more people to talk to each other?
Well, I'm saying places like a barbershop, places like the community
podcast and a
center for
barbershop.
that matter.
Yeah.
I love
people like y'all, right? And if people also would just kind of think outside of the box, like, okay, the platform might be real estate, right? Real estate might provide the platform. That is where I have access to people, right? But what more could we do, right? I mean, I think about, if you will, service, right? How else can I serve people? Over here, I got coffee and water, for free, or, I bought this booth here for if kids roll through and they just want to hang out and take me up on my offer to come hang out right after school. You can do your homework there, or what more could we offer? How better can we serve people?
You mentor some little mini barbers.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Forget about it. I've done it, at least to like, for instance, up in Manson, they had a what do you call it? They did interviews, right?
Career night or something?
Like a career, thing. And so I was up there as a barber and doing interviews and things like that, or through Chelan, the Chelan School of Innovation, and they require students to do internships, and so I had a young guy here interning, but I don't emphasize cutting hair.
Right.
Yeah.
I emphasize service, right? And as well in that listening, the value of listening, and just get it through your, prepare yourself for your barbering day, as, far as like, I wonder who's going to come in, or maybe I do know who's coming in. I wonder how they're doing. Last time I talked to them, they were talking about this or that, and can't wait to catch up with
I bet
them.
he'd like to. I don't know if you've listened to the Earl Stanford and Judy Stanford.
Dude, I don't know if you can see it from here or if it's going to be in the deal. And this kind of sparked when you were talking earlier about keeping things going.
Right.
But Earl's got those business cards.
Yeah, he does. I have one in my house. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So-
It's
he
on the
gave us
fireplace.
one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Earl comes into the shop.
Okay,
I
so
love
when he,
that.
he was on the podcast and he was in my dad's grade.
Yeah.
And spoke at my dad's funeral. And,
Yeah.
But he was saying how, like, one of the things when he was growing up, they would just go out, I was growing up the same way. If you're home before like dark or dinner, like what are you doing here?
Yeah.
But he would say that that's like a weak version of what they did. What they did is they'd go out and play, and it got dark in the winter. They'd just go to the nearest house and stay the night.
And then like that person probably feed them dinner.
Right.
And then of course you can stay.
Yeah.
And that was like pure community because you really didn't have any phones.
Right.
And you really didn't have any way to, connect. So the parents generally just knew that most likely my kids are fine.
Right.
They're most likely down at that house or that house, and they're probably going to give them dinner, and then we'll see them in the morning. And,
Right.
Yeah.
and it was normal.
Yeah.
And you kind of think about even growing up where people would knock on your door unannounced. Can you imagine that now? They're diving behind the couch.
Oh, totally.
I
Totally.
don't really like anybody knocking on my door.
I know, seriously.
You're going crazy in 1950.
It's either like my house is probably not clean enough,
Right.
or like my dogs are now barking.
Right.
And if it's just for a package, I don't want to like open.
Well, it's just an example, right? Because if you would have had that mindset then, they'd be looking at you like, now it's normal, right?
Yeah,
Like
but back then too, they probably always had their door open, but they're just like screened in front, like the screened in door, and
There was that.
they always probably sat on their
Yeah.
porch anyways, just listen to the radio.
Or it was that you were always ready where, like, for instance, there were what were called sitting rooms.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like, whoa, right? You see the plastic on there, don't use that, right?
Yeah.
Or it was, the good a tea set or like coffee or something like that.
China.
Or like, no. You eat the clearance cake. That cake is
Everybody
for
had
in case
cake.
somebody.
I know, but that's what this, when you're talking about this little stool and stuff here, that's what that was reminding me of.
Totally.
Of just like having little like connections of drop off community, everybody's welcome.
Yeah.
That whole tradition that I feel like it's coming back because I feel like people miss it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the community center because it's right in the name.
Yeah.
Tell me about your, like the last, I didn't know. I mean, was astonishing to me that I can be what I thought my perception of reality was about my knowledge of this community. And then, because I've been here every day for my whole life, basically. I mean, I was gone for a while, but not long. And then to not really understand something that was right in front. And I had, like, Brooke was in my grade.
Right.
K through 12. She's one of the 16 or whatever.
Yeah.
And to not quite, I mean, I knew there was a community center, so I knew of it, but I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt embarrassed a little bit when I was invited to attend that night, the gala. Gala?
Oh boy.
Gala?
It doesn't matter.
That'll spark a debate. Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm like, wow, there's a lot that's been going on here.
Totally.
Positive, negative, challenging, shifting. Everything shifted from real life to not just real life.
Yeah.
To now they're a tenant.
Right.
Just the whole amount of effort that a lot of my friends that are on the board that I didn't even know they were on the board. So I just thought, man, I'm pretty naive for a guy. I must be like focused a little too much on. I'm looking down and in a little too much.
Yikes.
I need to look up and out a little bit.
Right.
But then to watch some things come together and learn about some things come together and watch what happened that night. Sounds like they made some money and have those matching funds. So tell me your perspective of that whole, like, Maribel's been on it, what, 7 years?
My wife, pretty much, and it was like on a consultant basis is how she started, volunteering, if you will.
Okay.
Back in 21.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was in 21. So now, 4 years in, whatever. And, I feel kind of bad. I'm going to share as much as I can without stealing her.
Yeah, don't steal her thunder. Yeah,
and also, but this is interesting, right? Because, for instance, the community center and some others, as far as sharing community center media, right? They are doing a good job. But remember, you talked about it before, right? Where like your email is, bursting at the seams. Your, notifications of like, hey, new post or something like that, right? It's hard to keep up, right?
And we're also the tech side. Rightfully so. There's so many hackers and so many viruses and so many scams that you set your filters to protect you, and then you don't see anything coming in because it's blocked.
Yeah. Or you're just afraid to click it, even if you're like, this looks legit.
I mean, it's getting to where you got to go, hey, did you look in your trash folder? Hey, did you look in your spam folder? I sent you an email.
Dang.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, so your perspective about, and just from their community, I'm curious about your community perspective of the community, the people involved.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think in short, the best way to describe it, my observation is that these people are walking it out. Yeah. They're walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
That's
right.
Good.
Because at one point, that's really all they could do was just talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Because it was, just a plot of land, a pile of steel, and they were just trying to spread the word and, obviously fundraise and things like that, and doing their best to get this vision that was literally from a conversation to an an architectural rendering, right? For people to believe that, this is coming, right? And, we need you to be a part of it. We'd love for you to be a part of it, these types of things. So a lot of kind of upfront vision casting and this type of thing. But now they walk it out. I'm saying where, okay, I mean, it's my wife, but I'm just saying, she's there. She's, and all of them are though, right? But interacting with people, making the phone calls, taking the phone calls, even picking up a broom, you know what I'm saying? Even, squeegeeing or taking out the trash, these types of things, doing, in other words, all hands on deck. Right. Right.
Yeah, I loved it. It was dark. There was like that little light at the end of the tunnel was getting pretty dim.
Right. Yeah.
For a while too. And when I heard Brooke talking about that, it was pretty powerful. I texted her afterwards. I thought she did a great job of being honest and being authentic about the challenges. Yeah. And, but when you're trying to be a visionary in anything, and you're trying to cast this big, wide, giant goal, I say this a lot, but I think the past, when you look at the past, and we like to reflect on things, and, growing up here and then being here most of my life, vast majority of my life, I've seen a lot of changes, right? And it's funny, but the past has always been messy. We just like to think, my personal opinion is we like to look back at the past like through rose-colored glasses thinking it was all easy. There hasn't been anything easy about the past. Right. There's been challenges and adversity and life strikes. And so when we're going through things that are lofty, whether they're for profit or non-profit or serving yourself or serving your community, why would you expect it to be anything but messy? Right. In a way, and then once you can figure out that the messy is part of the formula to the end. Yeah. Or to the beginning, however you want to look at it. So that's where when you see people go through what they went through and have persistence. Right. There's a Calvin Coolidge quote about persistence that is profound. It's been with me since 1989. It basically just says persistence is above all else. You can have faith or you can have fear. And fear is that acronym, false evidence appearing real, but it'll lock you up. It'll stop you. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of success, fear of ridicule, fear of embarrassment. All these fears, all those leaders went through. Right. even, you know, and they had no idea. There's still things they don't know. And there's still going to be the critics. There's still going to be the armchair quarterbacks. There's still going to be, you know, everybody has yelling at the referees. Nobody's putting on the zebra outfit. So like this is part of the game.
Yeah.
And this is whether you see the leadership at a community center staying the course, you know, just focused on the vision and not being derailed when many people would have been. Many people probably should have been. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about faith. Yeah. This is not logical. Yeah, like totally. Let's get the logic out of this, you know? Yeah. And then somehow, some way, somewhere, for some reason, something will happen.
I love that.
But you got to stay the course and to watch it. Totally. It's really humbling, and it's really admirable to watch from when I was there, and I was just super humbled. Yeah. And I was also embarrassed because I didn't know enough about what's going on. Right. I live here. I don't know this. Yeah. Man, I'm too focused. So it's just one of those things, to your whole point about the barbershop, you know, to pull that back. I'm really easily into my game. Right. I love it so much that it's not even work. I mean, I just enjoy the passion and stuff. But sometimes you have to slow down.
That's right.
And reflect and spend some time in a barbershop.
Yeah, that's it. Absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, and we're doing it, you know, in the same way that, you know, the community center is so proud of everybody involved, and the community, for that matter, everybody, you know, that's supporting it. And, you know, even the people that are anxious, if you will, or maybe I'll believe it when I see it, you know, that type of thing, because what does that do as far as persistence goes? Not necessarily, I mean, it would be a fine line, right? Like the persistence is driven by wanting to prove somebody wrong. I don't know, you know, if that's the best way to do it. But I get it, how it can be a drive. But let's just say that in keeping true to the heart of it, right, is that there's an opportunity and a hope, if you will, that, okay, even if people don't believe, right, and they doubt, isn't that going to be great when they actually get to see it, and then they'll believe?
Yeah, well, the skeptics keep you honest. Right. I mean, the skeptics keep you on your toes. Yeah. If it wasn't for the people yelling at the referee, they might not do a good enough job. So these are positive reinforcements, even coming from a negative energy place, or just an honest criticism, which is, you know, criticism is healthy, right? You know, and it can really make you stop and go, oh, right, maybe there's a point there. I should have saw that coming, and you made a good point. Yeah. Even if it's not exactly in the best of spirits, sometimes they come from a different perspective of something else. But usually, you know, what I see in a small town America is that when people are projecting that negativity, mass judgment, massive, like a mean-spirited approach, there's usually something going on. Totally. There's usually some insecurity there that's projecting as whatever. Yeah. And we don't know that story. Right. We don't know what that person's going through. Yeah. So, I mean,
and that's a big deal to acknowledge that.
I think grace, you know, forgiveness and generosity has to be a part of your business plan. If you want to be if you want to be successful in a business, in a community, then those three things must be part of it. Yeah. And grace and forgiveness, that's not easy stuff to do. Yeah, yeah. That's harder.
it really is the narrow road. Right? The narrow road is hard.
So let's transition into that faith word, because you're also. Yeah. Tell me about your faith. Tell me about what you're doing. Yeah. And what you were doing before and what you're doing now with respect to faith.
Cool, man. I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, I would say first that I didn't grow up in church and things like that. Being raised by a single mom, I give my mom all the credit for planting those seeds of faith in me. At the same time, I joke that she raised me with the boogeyman Jesus. Because it was just my mom and I.
That's hilarious.
And she was like, "Okay, that long hair dude, keep it up, right?" Like, I
see. The consequence, the karma.
Yeah. Because I was, you know, to a point, I was a latchkey kid, right? So growing up on the res, and you know, even though it was a different time, and even though I still had freedom to ride my bike at night and, you know, go somewhere, whatever, right? Walk into school. Still a lot of it was, okay, when you get home, you don't leave the house. And, if you hear me on the answer machine, this is back in the day, right?
Oh, yeah.
When you leave it to the answer machine and you can hear the person on the other line, and she'd be like, if you don't answer, right, and I have to come home, right, you better hope that the boogeyman Jesus gets you before I do, right?
Funny.
But
I love it.
so planted those seeds of faith, and then life was just life, right? When I was around 11 or so, met some friends, as a matter of fact, talking about how I just came from visiting the West Side, and we had some friends that were visiting as well, that they were going to their high school reunion. Anyways, the wife, Erica is her name, she was part of this family, this extended family, that when I was 11, were part of a church on, I want to say it was like 21st and Wetmore in downtown Everett, where I got to admit, I was thinking more like, go to church for the girls.
Cute girls.
Dang, Chris. But that's just really what it was. And, I'm here trying to find...
motivation is motivation.
I know, what are you going to do? But did it work, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm here trying to find, a cute girl, and then I find Jesus. So that is what, if you will, watered those seeds that my mom instilled in me about faith, but watered those seeds to understand and to have an experience of relationship with Christ, relationship with God. Joined the choir. It was the King's Kids. Oh my gosh, it was
That's
so
a great
much fun.
name.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. And anyways, but 11 was also the time where I just, it's preteen, it's all that kind of stuff. And let's just say, long story short, I just, I went way on the other side of things, far from Christ, far from faith. Maybe I relied more on the whole, as long as I didn't murder anybody, or, I'm still good in grace, right? Good graces. But then, like I said, just life went on and things like that. And I mentioned about my, pursuing corporate career and stuff. And then in 2013, Cinco de Mayo, 2013, at North Shore, it's funny, we got North Shore here, but it was North Shore Church in Everett by the Boeing plant. And they basically were like, hey, there's more room in the pool. Anybody wants to hop in if today's the day? And I'm like, yes. My wife was like, what? Right? Which maybe we'll talk about that when she joins us some other time. But Cinco de Mayo 2013, I just came to that point in my life where, again, speaking of wisdom out of life experience, I believe that it's common to a lot of people that you got to hit rock bottom in order to say enough is enough. And even though, we have family pictures to prove it, and I have paychecks to prove it, right? That, we had careers, we had a marriage, we had a family, a home, but everything was very underneath it all. It was unstable, right? And where I was reflecting is my part about all of it, and where if I wasn't stable, then how in the world would I expect, to keep everybody else up as far as my part goes. So I went all in, and I went all in, right? So, my wife, because it was Cinco de Mayo, right? And she was like, wait a minute, so we're not having tacos and tequila, right? And I'm like, nah, I'm done. And she's like, oh, okay. But that was 2013. In 2014, it was one of those, leave everything and come follow me type thing, where after, almost 15 years of corporate world, I just put in my notice I didn't know what I was going to go do. I thought I was going to do actually real estate, but I didn't follow through on that. And what's funny about it is that I gave a 6-week notice, just in case that was just me being positive that I have the green light to leave. And it came down to the last day, and I remember going to work, and I was like, "Hey, Lord, like, I ain't too proud to beg. Like, if this isn't you, and I'm not supposed to leave, just let me know, and I'll tell him." Just kidding. I'm just playing. But that day, it was my last day, and before I left, my manager called me into his office, and I just thanked him, and he thanked me, and these types of things. And because I was very vocal about my faith as far as like taking this leap of faith, and he was like, I'm very encouraged by your sharing this. And I asked man, hey, is there anything that I can pray for you about? And then he starts getting teary-eyed, and then he asks for prayer for his son. And then like I'm getting touched and teary-eyed, and I prayed for him. And that was my last day of corporate world. And I was like, all right, here we go, And it was later on that I ended up running into a buddy from high school. He's like, "Hey man, I got a barbershop in downtown Everett. It's God's shop. You got to roll through." And so I started going there, taking my son and hanging out. And it really was God's shop. I mean, like, there'd be, worship music playing, and just, my buddy Eric Richardson, I love him so much, him and his wife and their family. But he'd be like, "Praise the Lord," right? He'd be like, "Is that right, Chris?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, man." It was so funny. It was church, at the shop. But then he was like, "Man, I remember you used to be a barber. You should come, join the shop and whatever." And so I became his apprentice. And that's how I got started on the barbering journey. That was 2015. During that time, I met a couple guys. They became very close friends of mine, but separate relationships. They didn't know each other and all this kind of stuff. And then it was so crazy. In September 2017, they each asked me to go have coffee. And I go, and my first buddy, he was like, "Hey, Chris, it's going to sound crazy, but Jesus said that you're supposed to come and be my youth pastor." And I was like, "Well, if Jesus said," right? And my other buddy was like, "Hey, Chris, I really think that your story will resonate as being the director of our at-risk youth outreach in downtown Everett and Casino Row."
That's right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like in my faith, pursuit of purpose and these types of things, right? Just glorifying God. I'm like, man, this is like, wow, this is some level up stuff, right? Like next level things. I'm like the ultimate. And so I was like, yes to both, right? And I talked to them separately, right? They were like, whoa. Wait, no, like I want you over here. Oh, yeah. And I was like, no, but you guys don't see how this complements. Yeah, right. Remember we were talking about complementing. I'm like, the church takes care of the whole household. The youth outreach takes care of the youth outside of the home, right? And so then I'm,
combining.
Yeah, we talked about it. It all worked out. And anyway, so the at-risk youth outreach was Youth for Christ, YFC. Kind of like Young Life. Billy Graham actually was the first speaker at one of their gatherings back in the day. And so faith-based organizations that just, again, if you're tracking, like, these are watering those seeds of faith, right? And just leveling up and growing and building in my faith. And so January 2018, I'm working with at-risk youth. I'm working on church staff, and then so started off as youth pastor. I remember going to the youth gatherings, and I told my buddy, I was like, man, I don't know, right? Like keeping up, bouncing around with these young guys, right? Like I'm out of breath, you know? And he was like, yeah, maybe I'll make you my associate pastor. So I became his associate pastor. And then eventually my buddy, he moved on, and I became the campus pastor there in downtown Everett. But check this out. If you're tracking again, where I was choir on 21st and Wetmore, the church campus was 22nd and Wetmore. I mean, just, dude, these, you know, reflections about, you know, and I would say like this as we're talking about faith is God's faithfulness, right? I mean, what I thought was just, you know, this, you know,
King's kids,
right?
Yeah.
Like this is just a part of my life, you know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, or from growing up in Tulalip and then ending up in Mukilteo, South Everett area, Casino Road, I was there. So I can communicate, speak with these kids, share my story, right? Encourage them about coming to the other side. And, but yeah, man, God's been faithful. And then remember I said, you know, 2010, what do you want to do? I just want to help people, right? And so all of that faith journey really was the reinforcement, the complementing, the preparing for what here in the barbershop, I believe, is the ultimate of helping people. And that is by providing a safe place, being an ear, listening, and just sharing what's been given to me, you know?
That's awesome.
And so faith has got everything to do with, you know, my foundation, right? And from there, my story and the different things that I've experienced, where I've been, what I've done. Here I got a variety of people that something, some way, somehow, like you were saying, is going to complement. It's going to resonate. It's going to connect. It's going to spark, you know. But it's not just me to them, right? Again, Earl, for instance, right? Earl comes in. Gary Miller comes in. Larry Stevenson.
Gary Miller's wife was on our podcast.
Yeah.
Susan.
I love it.
And Mona.
Yeah. But,
There's some good,
you know, it's reciprocal.
Yeah.
You
But
know
Les
what I
Hare
mean?
probably comes in here too, doesn't he?
Who is it?
Les Hare, you know Les?
Les? You know, I'd have to...
He walks around a lot out
Okay.
here. He was the guy that I talk about a lot, that I thought he was a cook growing up. He turned out to be a jet pilot, Top Gun guy.
Yeah, he thought he was a cook in the military.
Like I didn't
That's
know any
funny.
of that. Like,
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just I was bringing him up because I go, there's a perfect example of you know of people your whole life, but you didn't know know. You don't know their story really. You don't know where they came from.
Yeah. But faith, man, faith is, you know, for me, it's the bookends of my life, bookends of my day. And this here is what I believe is, you know, just relying and confiding in the faith that I have. And otherwise I wouldn't be here.
Well, and it seems like, you know, predictably unpredictable about a lot of things in life. But it seems like you have a pretty rock solid, although the nuances can change and the messaging can become at you differently because you don't know who's going to walk in that door.
Right.
You don't know who you're going to touch.
Right.
That's unpredictable, but some of the stuff's pretty predictable for you, it sounds like.
Well, you know this, and, you know, guys like Earl, you know, your father before he passed, like we could all share an observation that we made, which, coming from scripture, for instance, like there's nothing new under the sun, right? So, you know, it may be a different person born in a different time and grew up in a different place. But then when we boil it down and we start to unpack it, where we relate are with the things that are common to so many people. You know?
Yeah, it's interesting. I read this, that we've been saying this a lot lately because I blow my mind a little bit. So the neuroscience guys, said that we have about 60,000 thoughts a day.
Boy.
And 90% of them are the same thoughts we had yesterday. So I'm like,
Oh my God.
still seems like a lot of new thoughts every day.
Yeah.
But what they were getting at is that's why this programming and the software in the back of your mind, you know, if you went through tragedy, you had abuse, you went through addiction, your parents were addicted, you know, or just mean-spirited or belittling or whatever the program was, or the opposite, you know, encouraging and loving and generous, selfless. That's all software that's hardwired through when you're little, and you don't really get rid of it. It's hardwired. Yeah. But the tools that you use to maybe add a different program or add to that program that makes you stop and go, maybe I'll go this direction. Yeah. I think that's the fun part about realizing that. I joke and I say a plan every 7 minutes, which isn't really that far off. Might be 10.
It might be 7 seconds.
7 seconds. Yeah. But I kind of have this debate inside my business a lot because I know that it's important to have a plan, and I know that it's important to have a schedule, and I know it's important to keep your appointments. Yeah. I also don't want to miss out on anything. So I'm constantly waiting for somebody to walk in my barbershop and go, hey, I'll just go to coffee with you.
Totally.
You know, because it's that excitement that of the unknown that I find exhilarating in the helping people realm. So we all do it in our own way. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. We all have a different way of helping. And I think even the people that would swear up and down they don't help anybody and they don't like anybody and they're not loved and they don't love anybody, they still help people. Right. They just don't know it. Right. They might not see it. They might not get it. And even if they're spewing venom, it's still, they're helping people. They just don't, there's a way, there's a methodology somewhere in there. And I think that's the kind of cool stuff, especially with what you going on. And I love what you said about your chair here with the kids. Yeah. Because there's always that kid. Yeah. That's lost. There's always that kid's good kid. He's battling something you don't see. If you only see him at school, if you're only seeing him here or there, and part of that old saying, boredom's the devil's playground, is pretty legit. Yeah, it's pretty legit.
Yeah, I testify. Yeah, for sure. And
all of a sudden having a place where I can go see Chris. Right. Even for 15 minutes.
Right. Well, for that matter, you know, if they need a haircut, right? But let's just say, for instance, they can't afford a haircut. Man, without any hesitation.
And I also like what you said, this is a safe place. And it's not just safe for the kid that needs a haircut. Right. It's safe for the adults.
Absolutely.
That's something that's also, I think, under-communicated with adults to adults.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's almost like business-to-business communication. Right. We're not clear enough.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we can help each other in business.
Right. Yeah.
And we can help each other in adults having a conversation in here with your barbershop.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And, you know, the joke around here is, hey, no drama. You know what I mean? And
like boundaries.
Oh, man. Well, you know, because they say, for instance, like, oh, well, you don't talk about politics and you don't talk about religion, right? Well, you know, if my whole thing is no drama, right? And if I'm the conductor in this place because it's my shop, right? Well, then it's up to me, you know, so that's a responsibility, right? And I believe that, you know, the value is in the conversation, you know, and so maybe we don't go all in with a particular subject, right? But maybe even just touching on it again, I like to use the word spark, you know, but maybe it sparks something, right? And maybe we're not ready for the topic, you know, of religion or politics, right? But let's maybe consider a different application of a scenario, you know what I mean? And then find what's in common. So then when you do talk about politics or religion, for instance, it doesn't have to be so amplified about how, you know, how would you say, volatile or dangerous or whatever it might be. Instead, find what's common and then just see that, oh, the application, however, in this space, right, is going to differ a little bit, but at the root of it, right, that understanding will help to see, like, okay, what are they really trying to accomplish, though? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, so. I see it a lot where you don't always have to have a perpetrator and a victim. there can be just a debate.
Yeah.
And there can be
Right.
just common ground that we can
Right.
agree and to disagree on.
Yeah.
Oh, and just take out some judgment.
Yeah.
How about that?
Like,
Just take out some judgment and just like whatever the topic is, just
Right.
do it as is.
we talk
There it
politics more than Nicole wants to. And it's fun because it's fun to talk about stuff in a respectful way. Especially coming from we're different generations, came from different backgrounds, but we're in an office together. And so it's fun to listen. From my perspective, it's fun to be curious.
Yeah.
Well, it's very difficult to be curious if you're slamming the door in someone's face. They're not going to let you have much to be curious about because they're going to shut up or yell at you. These are the two options, or run away,
Right.
So to
Yeah.
me, it's like that overlapping in the middle of common ground. Like you said, once you can find the common ground
Yeah.
in anything,
Right.
now you can have a conversation,
Right.
not an accusation. You can have these good educational moments where if you come with that, you hope you come with that, everybody comes with that serious place where I want to curious about what you think. And I want you to help me understand where you're at.
Right.
Then maybe I will go, Chris just got my attention.
Interesting. Yeah.
And then like that's a seed.
Right.
And maybe that little nuance that you planted in my seed, whether it was conscious or subconscious, will allow me to fester, water, fertilize, nurture. And the next thing you know, I'm not quite as far away from you as I was.
Right.
So it may not be today,
Totally.
but this conversation can begin to be healthy.
Right.
And then you might do the same. And it
Right.
might happen in the same conversation where I move a little bit, you move a little bit. And we're both Americans. We're both in this country. We're both neighbors. We're both friends. We don't have to go
Right.
like that, right?
Yeah.
Which you see so often. And I don't know, I always think about the blame game. It's real easy to blame social media. It's real easy to blame my parents. It's real easy to blame and be a victim, right?
Well, you
Right.
can't. Yeah. I mean, it's.
Well, it's like I tell.
Tough way to live, though, too.
I love. I work with Fletcher Ellingson a lot, and he helps my agents, and he has a story too. We all have a story, right?
Yeah.
He says, when someone says that's not fair. Chris gets to be a barber. That's not fair. And he goes, the funny thing about that word is, as soon as you say that, you have to realize that in that moment, are you the perpetrator or the victim? Because those are the only two things if it's not fair.
Wow.
So most of the time you're not the perpetrator when you say it's not fair. So you're saying I'm a victim. And then when you make people think about it, or help them think about it in a little different angle. So like when I tell my kids or something, or my grandkids, like, okay, when you say it's not fair, I want you to also raise your hand and say I'm a victim.
Wow.
At the same time.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I'm not a victim. I'm like,
Right,
well,
right.
okay, well, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes equitable and fair are different words, and they mean different things.
Right.
And then sometimes that person didn't get lucky. Sometimes he did. Sometimes he worked his butt off to get there. So, and then you combine that with this philosophy that I have, that there's one thing that definitely assassinates delayed gratification, which is where all the magic lives. Is instant gratification. It's the purest of assassinations. And so when we are feeling comfortable, which is where the place we came from, where we're trying to get away from, we have to remind ourselves every time we go back to that comfort zone, there's a reason why we try to get away from it.
Right.
Because that's not delayed gratification. That's not where the magic lives.
Right.
And so anything, right? Whether you're studying faith, or whether you're studying business, or whether you're having a conversation and trying to find common ground, most of the time I believe it's not instant gratification.
Right. No. I mean, and we talked about it at the beginning about, the value of a question.
Yeah, curiosity.
Right? Because if I just give the answer, right? I mean, for instance, our kids, when they got their first W-2 jobs, right? And they're like, can we go to Walmart? And we're like, yeah, sure, go to Walmart.
Right.
Oh, can I have money? What in the world, right? You have a job. Oh, but we work for that money, right? We don't want to spend that money,
That's
right?
funny.
But then, like, how difficult it is to spend the money that took you time to earn, to gain, right? The value of it, right? But how quickly could you spend money that's just, given to you, right? And easy to be frivolous with that.
Yeah, it goes back to that process of going through the mistakes, going through the failures, builds the character. Go ahead and spend that money.
Right. Yeah.
Go buy the Tootsie Rolls right now, baby.
Right.
Why not? Buy all the stuff. Buy all the toys. Do it
Yeah.
right now. And then when you're 16, you have no car.
Right.
So I guess back to your kids, because we kind of glanced over. You had every 2 years?
A son and a daughter.
Okay, so 2
Yeah.
years in a row.
Yeah.
2 years apart.
Yeah.
How old are they now?
Our son, he's in his first year at the age of 18. He's going to be 19 in November, but in his first year of college at Spokane Falls.
Nice.
Yeah, and our daughter is 17, a junior, and she just got her license, and all of a sudden she's the most busiest person in the world. They're so awesome.
Is she in Manson, Chelan?
Actually, both of them are in the Chelan School
Chelan?
District.
Oh,
yeah, so our son, especially from Todd's boys, who were part of this like dream team
Baseball,
of Chelan baseball.
Yeah.
And our son,
Cool.
baseball is his
that his
thing.
deal? Yeah.
So they're like, if
Speaking
you ever
of
move
baseball,
out here, right? Yeah, man.
10-3.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
But it is baseball, so let's just not celebrate too soon. But they were like, Christian, if you ever move out here, right? Like you got to be a goat. You got to be a goat. And we moved to Manson, and Scott Hutchinson, right? Our friend, and he was like, so the boy's great at baseball, right? Like love to have him on the team. And I'm like, man, I'm trying to tell him, right? But the kid, he already had his mind made up. So proud of him, though. I mean, he stuck to it, and wrapping up his school years of baseball last
So is he
year.
playing at Spokane?
He is playing at Spokane.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's very
so,
cool.
be great.
Congratulations.
yeah. But last year in high school, he, just so proud of him, because he was looking at Todd's boys and all their, accolades and achievements for baseball, and he's like, someday. And well, shoot, he did it, and he got himself his own,
Yeah,
so. And our daughter, just 2 years apart. It's funny when kids, they grow up so close. It's almost like, having a boxer and a Yorkie, right? And they're like, so different, right? And they're different size things like that. But when you're near them all the time, right? You feel like, the Yorkie's like, we're part of the big dog gang, right? But where the only 2 years apart, it seems like our daughter was very much, sharing and, if you will, being influenced by, her brother's achievements or life journey and things like that. So, she's junior, but she's trying to wrap up school early, and she's doing online schooling, so trying to get those classes and credits finished quickly, because she's ready for the next level already. She sees brothers doing it, and she's like, I'm coming.
She's like, if he can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, totally. I love that.
Fast forward. Is she running start and that kind of stuff, or is it just
for our daughter? Well, for online, for the most part, it's at your own pace, right?
I see.
And so if she's advancing, quicker, well, then it's on to the next courses, right? So
I see. So she can just fly through it, or she can take her time, whatever.
You have the opportunity.
Yeah, that's exciting.
So So our children, we're super proud of them, super grateful for them, because even at the same time, right? I mean, if you talk about, speaking to the kid, right? And parents do this where, we sometimes we come at it from a parental aspect of what we know now, right? And yet we forget that we were once there. We want to emphasize that we were there, and so look where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And take my advice because of where I'm at now. But it's almost, you jump over all that time that was experience and processing and this type of thing, right? Like, for instance, people might see this podcast, hear this podcast, oh, they got kids, right? Like, oh man, well, he's, he speaks well, and, he's, got a handle on life and things like that. And, not to say that our kids don't, but my point is that they might assume, well, then their kids must be there, right? But at, 18 and 17, right? I'm like, no, but you're experiencing Chris Cruz at 46. You know what I'm saying? And Chris Cruz at 18 and 17, I'll give him credit for being ahead of Chris Cruz at 18 and 17, but still, like, let's not give him too much pressure that, well, your dad is, so you should, right? I mean, let's just hope, and that's what I share with our kids, that, look, number one, I don't need you to pay mom and I back. It's our investment, and what we want as a return is that you are people of good character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That you don't have to go and do the variety of things that I've done, or or like that mom has done in her career. I just, whatever you do, that people, when they think of you, they hear your name, they think of a person who's of good character, reliable, compassionate, right? That grace.
It's an interesting word, reliable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
That is a word that I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, man.
And it's funny that you put it in that context of the most important things.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Stable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I told you, 2013, right?
Yeah.
Hitting rock bottom. Not that people could see that I hit rock bottom, but I mean, inside, right? I was not stable. So,
Yeah. Well, I've been not stable many times in my life.
Yeah, man.
And I've had to re-stabilize many times.
Absolutely.
Re-stabilize constantly.
Yeah.
So, and most of the time people couldn't see it. Sometimes it could. Sometimes it was very open when I was going through destructive times.
Yeah.
I'm on a court or outside influences. Either way, there or there.
Yeah.
So it's cool that you think that was. I was thinking about what you said about. I'm telling my kids they owe me like $10 million each.
Yeah, I know. As soon as he said that, I was thinking,
Right.
Russ keeps going, Mason, your good looks or something, stuff like that. You owe me $1 million or
That's
some
right.
crap.
You are a walking IRA, kid.
That's what you keep telling
You
him.
don't expect me to cash in on it until I really need it. Like
He's
85.
telling his kids, like, look, you don't need to have that pressure on you. You've been given the gift of life. I want you to live it fully for how you want to.
Right.
And you're like, excuse me, you got to pay me back.
Right.
I want to live in luxury when I'm older.
Right. Well, the fact but here's the thing though, right? Where am I coming from?
Yeah.
We talked about wisdom, right? Because growing up and it was just my mom and I mean, as a kid, I literally drew pictures of my mom's house that I was going to get her, right?
That's beautiful.
And my mom has been living with us for 11 years now.
Sweet.
Right?
I love that.
But the best that I've been able to do, my wife and I have been able to do, is give her a bedroom, not a house.
Well, maybe it's a different way to approach it. Maybe that's way better than a house.
Right? How about a bedroom inside of a safe place?
A family.
Yeah,
right?
a home.
I mean, the
stable
memories
place,
that
right?
she has that you were able to give your mom are unquantifiable.
Right. Yeah.
A house
Right.
is sticks and bricks.
Right.
And it just doesn't mean much if
Right.
if it's not a home. And when you're with her grandkids and with her kids,
Right.
That's from a different perspective. Although the picture was a house, you gave her a home, which is 10x that.
Mm-hmm.
So the outcome by subscription doesn't necessarily make it wrong or right.
Right.
Because your desire was just a seed that gave you what you got, and what she ended up having might have been exactly what she wanted.
Right. Absolutely. There's value in that. Where I really want my mom to see, however, is that I'm not the same person that I used to be.
I'm pretty sure she sees that.
I
I don't
so.
even know her.
I hope so. I hope so.
Man,
it's tough though when you see, because
Ask around town about me.
Right, that's what I'm talking about, right? It's
No, we need to stop that. Is the whole point of the podcast.
No, I'm just saying,
Right.
it raises its head 40 years later,
Right.
whatever it is, right?
That's
If
it.
that's the thing that the people want to hang on to in judgment was that moment in time, that's fair.
Right.
I'm not, that's fair. I mean, absolutely. Wisdom through scar tissue, baby.
Right. And what did we talk about though at the beginning? We talked about you can't unsee it.
No.
Yep.
Right.
No, and and the thing is about mistakes and failures and bad choices and good ones, I don't regret them. I mean, if you could predict the future, Yogi Berra, speaking of baseball, famous Yankee baseball coach, one of my favorite quotes of all time is, he used to say, predicting things is very, very difficult, especially about the future. That was like, he's the same guy that said, you'd be a lot better if you weren't so bad.
Yikes.
That kind of stuff.
That's awesome.
So when you think about all those things that led up to whatever it is today, it is what it is, man. It's the recipe.
Right. Well, and how about this for a question is, where do we go from here?
Yeah, it's funny you said that. I was going to ask you, where are you going from here? That's the next
here,
question.
man, I mean, one day at a time for sure, right? You don't want to get too ahead of yourself where you can't enjoy the moment. You can't enjoy where you're at, right? Otherwise, I had thoughts about it here in this building. I shared it with the landlords. I'd love to be in the conversation if the time came to sell the building. But, as far as barbershop goes in the industry, I'd love to, have the barbershop be the beginning of what could be a school for the barbering industry. And on the other half of the building, a school for cosmetology, for beauty industry. Just for having a pulse on, our valley and the community and the youth. I mean, it's trending, that's for sure. Barbers and cosmetologists and
estheticians,
health and beauty estheticians,
vocational work in general.
right.
All vocational work,
and that's awesome. Let's get back to that. And so if that's what it leads to, then I'd like to say that now I have a vision for it, and if it leads to that, then awesome. Otherwise, in a nutshell, man, one day at a time, I just do my best and let God do the rest.
Yeah, well, I'm going to find out how much of this is BS when I get your wife in that chair.
Exactly.
She's gonna
That's going to be awesome.
He only said good things about her. Let's just make sure we know.
I'm not going to
that.
show her the podcast. I'm going to call her. I'm going to say, you should have heard all the stuff he said.
Oh boy, yeah.
You want to be you want to podcast with me before I show her the real podcast?
That's funny. Yeah.
She'll be like, he's perfect.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Chris is a dream. That's what she'll say. No, you guys have always seemed like you're just like you just soulmates.
Yeah. Well, it's been a long time. We mentioned, again, I'm 46. I won't say how old she is, but we were in the same grade, and known each other since 8th grade, together since 11th grade.
That's
so
classic.
people are like, high school sweethearts, and I used to say, I don't recommend it. And she was like, you can't be telling people you don't recommend it. What does that say? And she was like, you got to just, be more honest and say that it takes work.
Well, marriage is not an easy road. It's a very beautiful road, and it's a powerful road. But when you look around, there's statistical data to prove that it's not an easy road for anyone. And the ones that make it, I would say, make it because they engage in that method of working through things and not giving up.
Well, what did you share earlier? The
Persistence.
P words,
right? Persistence.
The
man of the arena is the name of the quote.
I love it.
That Calvin Coolidge wrote.
Well, there was I'm reminded of a rabbi, and he said that one of his members of the congregation had come to see him, and this gentleman was a cardiologist, and so he's like, Rabbi, I just so stressed, and this is in New York, and he's like, from looking out my window, seeing the world, looking at the news, hearing about the world, and then I'm in my job, and people are obviously coming to see me because, they got a lot going on.
Right.
And then I got my home life, and he's like, I just need prayer. And he was like, okay, prayer, no problem. That's what we do. And he was like, well, prayer for peace. I just need peace. And he was like, okay. So the rabbi is speaking. He's like, okay, so peace like a flat line peace, right? Just even, like no, ups or downs. And he's like, no, right? Flat line, that means I'm not living, right? I'm dead. And he goes, well, let's just stay on that for a second, right? And what does a healthy heartbeat look like? And he was like, well, it's got a rhythm, right? It's got a peak, a valley, right? A dip, right? A little bit of a flat line, right? It's even. And then some are big, some are deep, some are, not so big, some are shallow, right? But there is a rhythm to it, right? And there's going to be a peak, and there's going to be a valley, and there's going to be a moment of, peace, if you will, right? But to understand it, right, is closer to being able to embrace it, right? Because, again, high school sweethearts, it's not that I don't recommend it. It's just that you got to understand, like any relationship, especially marriage, that it's going to take persistence. But persistence about what? Persistence about understanding more and more about your spouse, understanding more and more about, those hills, those valleys, those peaceful moments, and making the most of it. And
that's awesome.
It. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing Maribel again and sitting down with her soon. And we've been talking, I think, for an hour and a half.
Oh my gosh.
Two?
That's easy.
That's 2 hours, too deep?
Yeah, forget about it.
Well, thanks a million.
Thank you so much.
I told you at the beginning of this, we could do these podcasts. We could just keep going and going and going.
I know.
Anyway, so I'm very grateful. Thanks for letting us hang out in your cool shop in Manson. And it's been a pleasure, my friend.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Love what you guys are doing, cheering y'all on, and looking forward to the next time, and just seeing everything that you're doing.
Perfect. All right, we're signing off from Small Towns Unscripted.